finished. We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run to, we have nowhere else to go. So get out of the way of the land of our dreams. We are the nation, we are part of this. Oh, oh. We are the nation, we are part of this. Whoa, carry the song, carry the sound. The future is here. The future is here. Goodbye yesterday, tomorrow is now for the taking. The future is here. The future is here. I am the future. I am the future. I am the dream. I am the nation. I am part of this. Yes, I am so amazing. That's the least I shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run to, we have nowhere else to go. So get out of the way, out of the way, out of the land of my dreams. I am the nation, I am part of this. So get out of the way of the land of my dreams. I am the nation, I am part of this. Whoa, is here. Goodbye yesterday, tomorrow is now for is here. Raise your hands in the air if you believe the future has come now. The future is here. The future is here. This is our dream. The future is here. The future has.
The future is everything that we can be but have not yet become. The future is everything that we can do but have not yet done. The future is here.
Released that song on the 19th day of February 2011. Nigeria was barely 51. Fast forward to now, 2024, October 1. Nigeria is 64. 64 and proud? I do not know the answer to that. Or 64 and still standing tall? You are the best judge of that. Hello and welcome to another awesome time on Delta Television, the People's Pride. This is Independence Day special, and we love to do that on a very special note, talking to special people who are vast, who are eloquent, and who know about the place called Nigeria and how it works, how it has worked since 1960. My name is Francis Ofulue. It's good to have you right with me this afternoon. I've got two gentlemen I just talked about earlier on. They are seated here and they're ready to rock and roll according to the Independence Day celebration right here in the studio. At the extreme is one who is extremely intelligent, versatile, and one of our teachers when it comes to broadcasting as far as current affairs is concerned and programs content creation. We're talking about nobody else but a retired HOD programs of Delta Broadcasting Service, Lawrence Okpeho. It's good to have you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
My only regret this afternoon is that I cannot get a handshake because the distance seems a little far, but it's good to have you. Also here is another wonderful gentleman, rugged as far as journalism is concerned, determined to let the truth prevail at every given point in time. He is Senior Social Assistant on Community Newspapers to the Governor, Obrowori, and publisher, Delta Guide Newspapers. He's nobody else but Honorable Prince Oronomokpaye. It's good to have you. I'll get a handshake.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Is it safe to say happy independence to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've observed that some Nigerians have refused to say happy independence day.
Happy independence to Nigerians.
Good. Because that is where we are.
Yeah.
Independence Day celebration, indeed. It is 64 years afterwards. When all those bills were passed, when all those battles happened, when the nationalists made their movement, look at us today, standing right here as one country. So I'll go straight to Lawrence Okpeho. How would you describe our journey so far since 1960?
Well, once again, happy independence to all Nigerians and Deltas in particular. In the last 64 years, it has been a mixed bag of mixed feelings and mixed blessings and missed opportunities. Like what Fanny Amon would say, we have been able to fumble and wumble to this very place where we find ourselves today. Yes, the fact that there is peace in this country, the fact that we are still together under one geographical expression called Nigeria, yes. It calls for celebration. So far so good. There's room for a lot of work to be done. But for now, let's take it the way it is.
Honorable Prince,
Yeah.
would you say Nigeria has fulfilled her dreams to a large extent, looking at all these years that's gone by?
Absolutely correct.
Have we?
Yes, because why? Like what my elder brother just said, for we to have remained as a nation, because there are some other nations, I won't mention them, they got the same independence with almost the same time with Nigeria. In the years 1960, they are no longer together as a nation. But Nigeria is together as a nation. So that first is something that we must celebrate. We cannot shy away with that. We must celebrate it. Then, fine and good, there have been some ups and downs. I mean, there have been some ups and downs. But that's not to say we are not moving. But we are moving to our destination, but in a slow pace. And God willing, Nigerians will get there.
Okay. Lawrence, I had a wonderful conversation on radio earlier on, and I was privileged to talk to someone from Indiana, the US precisely, and he said that, you can't compare Nigeria to the US. Something we all do every now and then. He said because July 4, when they celebrate their Independence Day, is quite different from Nigeria. They have had centuries of independence, so they're quite older than Nigeria. And they've passed through the stage of cowboys and dogs and West Indians. And Nigerians always are harsh on Nigeria about our progress level. Now, I don't know if he was right or wrong, but from your perspective, is it too early or too late to judge Nigeria as regards its progress?
Well, when Nigerians are talking, they are very fast at comparing Nigeria with the United States of America, even in terms of democracy. And it reminds me of 1984 or thereabout. I wasn't a staff then. I was a casual with a radio band at Bobaslo. And Tunde Osho of CBN then came visiting. And he was brought to the radio studio, the continuity studio, and he met, it was Patrick Koko, then was the DC on duty. And he was asked to speak into the microphone. He refused. He said because the mic he saw there was different from the one he used to. So if he speaks into the mic, it may be infested with something. And so we laughed over it though. Yes. And then somebody asked him to make a comparison between Nigeria and America. He said that it's like comparing a year-old child and a 99-year-old man. That's the gap. So what I'm saying in effect is that, yes, it's right. We often made that mistake of comparing Nigeria with America. America has gone through a lot of ups and downs, and yet they are still together. I remember that America is not just one country. Yeah. United countries came together to form. I think presently they have 52 states or thereabout. The last two came not quite 20 years or so ago. But of course, just as America came together, that's the way Nigeria came together. The different regions came together to form what is today known as Nigeria. That's the protectorate, north and the south and things like that. So we've been learning. Some person said that if not for the military interruption in the 60s, Nigeria would have learned. Maybe we would have still been practicing the parliamentary that we inherited from Britain and to this present debate. That interruption created a problem. And so when we came back, we now brought American system of government that is too expensive for a developing country like Nigeria to run. You get it? So it's too expensive. You have a lot of people that have to be in the... So when people talk of... when I hear people at times complain about what they are spending on National Assembly and all that, I say, go back to America, where you copied the presidential system from. But I do know that if we take it step by step, we surely get to where we are going to. So we shouldn't make that mistake of comparing Nigeria with America. But it depends on whether we have those leaders who are passionate about moving Nigeria forward. Because today Nigeria is like a conquered nation, where those who enter position are there to acquire the much they can take. In 1966, when Cardinal Zogu led the first coup, he said our enemies are the 10%ers. That was what he said in Why We Struck by Adeboyega. But today, our enemies are the 90%ers who want to take away 90 and leave what is there, 10 for the next. So until we have leaders who see Nigeria as their own country and who are ready to serve selflessly, and we also have followers, because if you don't have, when you are talking of good leaders, you must have good followers. When we have good leaders and we have good followers, things will turn around for good. But as it is presently, we are still struggling and trying to see how we move forward. But again, we should have this, see how we can rebuild that trust. Because presently in the country today, you have this trust deficit in all that we do.
Oh, that's a very strong one. I have many questions from what you've been saying, going on and on. But let's get, I'll get to you, but let's talk to Mr. Lawrence again. When you talked about Nigeria and our progress level, what came to mind was some of the assertions by many Nigerians. Did you know that some Nigerians are even saying the Englishmen should have continued ruling Nigeria? The way Nigeria has gone to this point, maybe they should have stayed here. And when you want to argue with them, look at some of the monumental projects that we have in this country. Most of them were built by the British colonial masters. So I want you to really tell me, if this independence, if October 1 was beneficial to the people, if Nigeria being a sovereign state benefited the people, or if really would have been better off with the colonial masters. For the young people who are watching.
Well, it was the late Samu Bakwe, former governor of Imo State, who said that, I think that was 1982 or thereabout, said that Nigeria should have been ruled by the Britons for another 50 years. Then we struggle for fresh independence, because what we have presently is like flag independence, and so we still have new colonialism. Yeah. Take for instance, every time they want to do election in Nigeria, we go to Chatham House. Yes. To do what? Right. Because we still attach ourselves to the British government. How many times have they done election? They come to International Conference Center in Abuja to do debate. So we still have this. Our aprons is still tied to the international community. But even then, we still have some few things we've been able to do. But the problem, one of the problems we have in our system today is lack of maintenance. We don't have that maintenance culture. Those things that the British left, we couldn't maintain them. I do remember that in my younger days, in early life in Lagos, you had a lot of industrial estates all over the place. Today, where are they? All the industrial estates, the warehouses have been converted to churches. So you now have unemployment. I do remember that when I traveled to Lagos 1969, December 1969, I took a Midwest line. We left Benin around 8 p.m. Arrived Lagos at about 3 p.m. 3 a.m. We didn't know where we were going to. We were just giving the address of where we were going to. And they just took us to the police station. And the policemen put us in their 4 pickup. And they took us to that compound. They knocked on the door. My uncle came out. And of course, as soon as he saw us, he was elated. So they knew that we were going to the right place. Today, can you try that? You can't try that. You get it? Then, if you miss your way, you walk to the police station. Or you arrive late in the community, you go to the petrol station, because they run 24 hours, share BP and all the rest, or you go to a police station. Or you go to a community where you don't know any person, you go to the head of the community, either the traditional ruler or things like that. But today, can you do that? Because of this trust deficit that is no more there. And that one has really taken us aback. You get it? I remember we traveled out some time ago. I called the pastor of my church, and the man had to place us under surveillance because we said we are from Nigeria. You get it? And the day he came to convey us to the church, he came with a police vehicle with the DPO.
Just to be sure.
Yes, just to be sure. That is the. So those are some of the things that we've done that have now made us to say, oh, I wouldn't really move in.
Yeah. Because if you look at South Africa, 1994, and look at where they are now, it looks like they're better than Nigeria, who has had it since 1960.
But South Africa, the problem with South Africa was not independence. It was
Apartheid.
apartheid.
Yeah.
The South African white men built South Africa to suit their own taste. You get it? So when you go to Pretoria, you go to Johannesburg, you go to all the major cities, they are places that were built for themselves and left the blacks to be in Soweto, Alexandra, and all those places that are still backward. But since the white man left South Africa and handed over leadership to South Africa, have not been able to manage themselves.
No question. You're bringing several topics in one conversation, and it's quite difficult for me because there are many areas my mind has been going to at the same point in time. Let's talk to Honorable Prince. Looking at Nigeria, admiring the country so far, would you say that you are proud of this country? And when they say we are the giant of Africa, really, what are those things we can use to boast with when we talk to our colleagues, our friends, our all people all around the continent, perhaps all around the world?
First, I'm proud to be a Nigerian, and by the grace of God, I will continue to be a Nigerian.
Beautiful.
And I know Nigerians are proud to be Nigerians, in spite of the economic hardship. Having said that, Nigeria remains the giant of Africa for so many reasons.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some of the reasons are, one, Nigeria, God has positioned Nigeria in Africa to bail other African countries in times of difficulties. You can recall during the time of late Nelson Mandela, when he was incarcerated. Do you remember the struggle and what Nigeria played, the role Nigeria played to see that South Africa has been, gets a rightful freedom? You can see Nigeria played a significant role. And there are some other African countries. Nigeria has equally done some things for. So there are so many things which I cannot really mention that that has made Nigeria to be the giant of Africa. Mind you, that name given to Nigeria, that they are the giant of Africa, was not given to us by ourselves.
Just like they called Christians.
Neighbors
called us
yes,
giant
neighbors.
of Africa.
Even the neighboring African countries, they nickname Nigeria as the giant of Africa. Because as we speak, in Nigeria, we have over 250 ethnic groups. Am I right? So we are still together in spite of our ups and downs. So that is the beauty of Nigeria, that we are over 250 ethnic groups across the nation, and we are living as one in spite of our human challenges, difficulties. So we have a lot of reasons to celebrate, and I believe that in the days to come, by the special grace of God, Nigerians will surmount all our problems.
All right.
Yeah, one of the reasons why, if I may add to what the Honorable said, Nigeria is referred to as a giant of Africa because, one, the economic opportunities that God has placed in Nigeria, in terms of agriculture, in terms of raw materials that are buried in the soil. Go to Zamfara State. Even in Delta State here, there are so many things that we have not tapped that are there. Then, the population of Nigeria, every 5 or 6 black person you see all over the world, there must be a Nigerian among them. Go to countries outside outside Nigeria. Go to America, go to Britain, the best doctors, the best medical. As we speak now, there are Nigerians serving in British government, there are Nigerians serving in American government. Go to South Africa, almost all the universities have lecturers.
Okay.
So that is why a lot of, we have that title. And because our policy is one that provide for small African countries. When Liberia had their challenges, Nigeria sent ECOMOG to go and free Liberia. Sierra Leone, the same thing. And so many other countries. And I remember during the era of General Yakubu Gowon, where he had to pay the salary of upper voter workers, known as Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Now, and so many other. So they refer to us as the giant of Africa. But that was also the period when Nigeria had the largest aircraft, Nigeria Airways. So we had 19 Boeing 7, so I mean, Boeing something. Then we had Nigeria National Shipping Line, 15 ships. You get it, that we were able to help other countries to. So Nigeria was a beehive of activities.
This was just after the independence.
That was after independence.
Yes.
When we had the Lukbeji Industrial Estate, the Ikeja Industrial Estate, name them.
Okay.
You know, we had Testami in the north, we had in Asaba, we had Asaba Testami. There were so many that people, even in my secondary school days, teachers came from Ghana. I had my geography teacher, Kwame Guan. He came from Ghana. We had Indians who were coming to come and teach, Canadians and all. And people were coming here. Even in Benediction and Boateng was a footballer in Benediction. Just as we go to Europe today, so they were coming to Nigeria to play for ICC Shooting Stars, you know, and things like. So then they saw Nigeria as the giant of Africa because the Naira was so powerful. If you go to Ghana, then you use your Naira to buy. It's on their own currency. But now, reverse is the case. So, but we have not been able to harness this opportunity that God has given to us. The Greek mythology, they have a saying that God has a way of punishing you, of fulfilling your life ambition. So the life ambition of Nigeria, if there's anything like that, has been fulfilled. And the problem we have now, like Chibe said, the problem with Nigeria is squarely that of leadership.
Okay, now, you talked about how we were blooming, doing very, very well, just after the independence.
Up to 80.
Up to 80. And then oil was discovered. There was a bloom. 1970, 73.
Oil came up in 1950 something.
But the bloom.
Late 50s.
But
Late 50s,
but the
57,
bloom, the
the oil boom
Yes.
came
Yeah.
during the Civil War. So Nigeria fought Civil War of 30 months and some 3 years and something. I think about 36 or so months without borrowing a couple. When Awolowo Obafemi was vice chairman to Yakubu Gowon and overseeing finance. And after the war, when Awolowo Gowon brought the 3 S,
Yes.
reconstruction, rehabilitation, and the other one, it was then they now pronounced the word oil boom. You get it? And that was when Gowon said that the problem of Nigeria was not how to get money, but how to spend the money. And so Julius Berger we built a 27-story building, and we built a Qatar bridge and everything.
Yes.
So people left their farms and now took to Lagos. We killed farming.
This is where I was driving at.
We killed farming.
This is how I was driving
We
at.
started importing Okubens rice. Not the rest.
From 66 million in the 70s to 10 billion naira in the 80s. And when I say 10 billion naira in the 80s, I mean we're talking about $10 billion. That's what we're talking about,
Yes.
literally. It seemed like everything paused in Nigeria and the whole focus was on oil.
Yes.
Now the
Yes.
question I'm asking is, was the discovery of oil, the bloom of oil, was it a curse or a blessing on Nigeria?
If I may come in now, the discovery of the crude oil, to me, is a blessing to Nigeria. But some of our past leaders did not make use of the opportunity properly. That is why some Nigerians are saying the oil, rather to be a blessing to us, is not a curse. It's never a curse. And mind you, the God Almighty does not bless you and later it becomes a curse. When God blesses you with anything, He blesses you. God has decided to bless Nigeria with the oil, and it remains with Nigeria, and so it will be. But having said that, the crude oil has contributed largely to our economic development.
Development.
Yes, whether you like it or not. I mean the crude oil. And as we are moving on, so many Nigerians have decided to depend on the crude oil. And that became a problem to the country. Before, we cultivate cocoa, export cocoa, rubber from sapele, I mean timber,
Yes.
and so on and so forth. Then we have one company called AT&P, African Timber and Plywood, that deals with furniture, plywood. But as we speak, because of this crude oil, all those sectors have been neglected. Are you getting me? Because the other sectors that have been neglected equally contribute to the economic growth of the country. But now, since they have been neglected, they all fizzle away. And we don't have any extra income from such things. But we just depend on only the crude. And that is our problem.
Now, in the early 70s,
Yes.
in the early life, up to 1980,
Yes.
we had it up to 1980 and maybe 82, during the Shehu Shagari's government. We used to have what they call national planning. So we normally have 4-year plan.
Yes.
You get it? And that is why, if you go back down history, you will hear first generation university, second generation university, third generation university, which means that establishment of some of these were based on need. The population is growing, so we are planning ahead. Now, when it was called ECN, Electric Corporation of Nigeria, nobody knew there was anything called generator. You get it? The population was growing after the payment of Udoji Award. When Gowon said that, the civil servant, they helped us during the war, they stood by us, how do we compensate them? A commission was set up, headed by Jerome Udoji. And so they paid civil servant some 3 months salary free of charge. And that will change the life of the civil servant. And so we have people who are now buying motorcycle, who were riding rally bicycle, started buying Honda. Even when they don't know how to ride it, and people were buying CD-135, and because of the rate was having an accident, they now call it certificate of death. You get it?
Yeah.
People now went to buying fridges, television, and all the rest. So as this status was increasing, we did not plan to grow with it. And eventually we started having challenges. Then the only source of power there was Kanji Dam. You get it? It was just Kanji Dam. Then later, they now brought the Egbi Lagos to use gas, but we were able to maintain it. Then look at the refineries. As at time, Port Harcourt refinery was working, followed by, I think, Warri refinery. Then Kaduna refinery was Giwe Shagari, when Buhari was Minister of Petroleum. You get it? It was built. Now, the population as we are growing, the number of vehicles we are growing, we are not planning along that line. And it got to a point where in one swoop of this thing, I think it was the Goodluck Jonathan government approving 12 university at the time. You get it? Before the Babangida government came and removed the education from the exclusive list and put it on concurrent list. But before even what's the name? Babangida did that. Shagari government had earlier removed it, except that it didn't give approval for private. And so states started having university around it. And so we're having this education, but we do not make provision for where those who are coming out of this school will work. We will not make provision, we will not plan ahead that these people that are coming out, where will they work? You get it? Meanwhile, we are killing the industries. I remember in Benin those days, we have Leventis, Kingsway, Chalarat, UTC, employing people. We had Beneburi, we had so many companies. But today they are dead. Yeah. So every person is now looking up to, like he rightly mentioned, ATP Saple, Bender Glass, Ugeli, the Bender Structure, NR, Asaba Testa Me, then Shrimp in Ogara, and a host of them. During holidays, then we used to go to Saple vacation job, or go to NPA Bori vacation job. When you are resuming, those of us in Bodia, when we are coming back, we are big boys. Afford some of those.
But during the holidays, you had
jobs. Yes, when we were in secondary school, vacation job.
There were so much jobs there.
Yes.
If I can come in now, why I said because we are over dependent on the oil, because we are over dependent on the oil, it has made Nigeria to be a lazy nation.
A lazy nation. Yeah, that's
do you know why? Before in Sapele, for example, where I come from, they tap rubber.
Yes.
They tap rubber and they export it. And it's an additional income. Now, I want to go to this other area. Now, he talked about the refineries. And I'm of the view that NNPCL, that are the sole lifter of the petroleum product from Dangote refinery. It shouldn't be so. I want to back the House of Representatives on their move to give licenses to other people to go to Dangote and lift the petroleum product. Because if you give it to only one NNPCL, they will equally do what they want to do. You know, in any market that they are not competitors, you see the person doing the firm doing it, you see either raising ego or doing some shady deals along the line. I'm not against NNPCL not to live to, but what I'm saying, what the House of Rep is doing, and I want to urge the Senate to equally follow suit. They should give licenses to other marketers
to go as well.
You go as well and take the petroleum product from Dangote.
All right.
Because if the NNPCL is the only firm going there, after buying there, they can tell us this is what we bought. No.
Okay.
Let it be for all.
Okay.
Let it be market for all.
All right. Let's still get back to independent special and the journey so far.
Yes.
So let's maintain the conversation because there are many issues in
Yes.
this country that could get us talking about even football games at the point in time. So let's stay
There are
here.
always a burning issue.
Let's stay here. They are burning.
Burning.
The country though is not burning. We're
No,
going to
I mean-
stand strong. We mentioned so much about how crude oil seemed to that should have been a blessing. It's turning out to be a sort of distraction from how we are producing in the country called Nigeria. We were really blossoming back then when we had black and white TV. It looked like things were colorful when they were black and white TV. But now, what is the way forward? How do we get out of this dependence? Because if you look at Nigeria, there is a lifestyle of mining and selling, not even refining. This is not just about crude oil, it's about everything we've been doing, even to cocoa. We're just sending it out and they send us coffee. And we buy it. We send crude oil and they send us oil and we buy it. It's like a woman who does cassava, sends it out and then buys Gary.
Just trade by
This is what we've been doing all our lives. How can we change this
The
narrative?
narrative.
I think the big controversial question is, since 1999, let's let our military leaders rest because they said the worst democracy is better than the best military. So let's let those military leaders take a chill pill now. Since 1999, 24 years after, we have just one oil refinery functioning. Why? No, let's get to Lawrence.
Now, you see, while we were reading out this, there was this magazine that
We
was
should come up again.
that was put on the screen.
Yeah.
That magazine is 40 years today. That magazine is 40 years today, and when Nigeria celebrated 24th independent anniversary, and in that magazine, it was clearly stated that it was not yet Uhuru. So 40 years ago, we were told that it was not yet Uhuru, which means that the problem, that's the magazine. That was after Buhari government took over from Shehu Shagari. Now, what we have presently to do, we had it then.
I think if you take back what was going on then and we bring it here, I think we'll call it Uhuru
Yes.
right now.
We had it then. So what we call palliative now was called essential commodity then. I remember when I started working in Newly then, we contribute money to buy cattle of St. Louis for Bender Cooperative Society Forestry, where we share in the office. That's what we call palliative today. And so the situation was so bad. That was that era. Now you talk of 1999 to date.
Yeah.
Now when we handed over power to civilian, when Absalom Abaka handed over power to a pseudo-military man, he changed his uniform to...
It's on the screen there.
Yes, that's
Obasanjo.
yes,
Obasanjo.
Obasanjo handed over to Shagari 1979. Now, you now discover that Obasanjo, because of what he knew about Nigeria, and perhaps because of what he went through when he was incarcerated by Abacha government, having tasted the prison life and God saving him,
Yes.
you know, decided to have a new idea of governance compared to what it was when he came to power after the death of Murtala Mohammed, and this 1976 to 1979.
Right.
So he formed a team his team of his cabinet was so powerful that they were not all politicians. You get it? Technocrats were brought in. Okonjo-Iweala came in, Charles Oludo came in, name them. They all came into the system. And using his own influence and everything, they went outside and pleaded with the international community to forgive us our debt, which they did. You get it? And so we started on a clean slate to some extent. But even when the constitution that was given to us, because it was kind of tailored after the American system, I don't know if that is what they operate, whether we have our own type of American system here. Then there was no provision for minister of state and substantive minister. Obasanjo came and said, no, there's no need for minister of state because there's a permanent secretary helping you. Because the man you call minister of state is using the same vehicle with the substantive minister. Okay. And what happened? Gali Nahaba, who was then speaker, took Obasanjo up that he was violating the constitution. You get it? Yeah. So that's why at times when I hear people say they were giving a vehicle 165 million, this and that, when the economy, that is what they be enjoying. That's why they said the presidential system of government is very expensive. You get it? Yeah, and so you see the trajectory. Since that time till now, we've been going that way. Even when the economy is not too good, we've been looking for loans to sustain the government. Mr. President made his broadcast this morning. And after that, he said it was going to be low-key. But I saw the parade that took place in Abuja. There's no way they would tell me they do spend up to 1 billion. I would have been happier if, after the broadcast of Mr. President, he tells Nigeria, let us go and pray and have it as a sober reflection. Yes. Every person will go home. We now know that, yes, we are really celebrating independence in a sober mood. Because talking about Nigeria from 1999 till now is like reading the book of Lamentation in the Bible. When Obasanjo was there, okay, he tried his best. He brought communication, this mobile phone and some other things that he put in place. When he handed over to Yar'Adua, Yar'Adua had a very good vision for this country, but health challenge did not allow him. When Goodluck Jonathan came in, they said he was clueless. Well, and the man said that the blood of his ambition is not worth the blood of. He's the first Nigerian to accept defeat, even when the result had not been fully announced. Then from there, we had other ones that came. Other ones that came, what has been happening? It has been, you see, when you are in government and somebody tells you that the man who was there yesterday was far better, you know that you are failing. You get it? But unfortunately, between then and now, we have people who now see themselves as emperor. You get it? They see themselves as emperor. The very moment you make criticism, whether it's constructive or otherwise, you are labeled. That is not the way. If you go to the West, the Yoruba areas, that's why I like their own politics. Oyo State, for instance, is being ruled by a PDP government. I can tell you, without missing words, that APC has a shadow cabinet.
There in Oyo State.
APC has a shadow cabinet. The other parties have shadow cabinet who are monitoring Oyo State. The same thing you have in Ogun. PDP has a shadow cabinet monitoring the. But not all the states can do that. Because if you don't accept criticism, when it is constructive though, you cannot move forward. If every person is praising you, when you're out of office, they will not tell you when you're there what, I mean, that's where you see the reality. So between 1999 and now, if we had maintained some of the policies that Obasanjo brought in the first tenure, it would have been good. But second tenure of Obasanjo,
it was good for the third one.
No, the second tenure of Obasanjo, that was where he used the word. This election is a do or die. You get it? Yeah, okay. And that's where he altered everything, where the leadership of the party is now under the presidency. Yes. You get it? And so he went to the state and down the line. So you now see the man who is the executive arm is one who dictates everything. Mm-hmm. So the judiciary, more or less, they are looking up to him. The legislator, they are looking up to him. If you, the legislator, want to be very bold, you are impeached. The speaker or the senate president, remember what happened during the Obasanjo? 5 senate presidents. Yes. Under his tenure. Because he doesn't want any person.
It looks like that was in style there.
You get it. So between then and now, we've not really taking that challenge of democracy. So we'll be operating what I call civilian government. Because we see here, your appointment is with immediate effect. That's a military language. You get it? And we still talk as if we say, this is the only country I see a president having a military man as his ADC. Shagari was president. It was a policeman that was his ADC. Because it's a civil thing. But Obasanjo came in and brought a military man. And today, even Tinubu has a colonel or lieutenant colonel as the only military man in Donna Barak.
Our time is
which ought not to be.
Our time is almost over. It's quite sad. This conversation should have lasted for even 2 hours. But before we go, you talked about Shehu Shagari, and what I remembered straight up was the 6334 system of education introduced in 1983. How has education been faring? That's what we're going to drive at before we say goodbye, because education is also part and parcel of what has happened in Nigeria during independence. A brief one from you, then we'll get to
in terms of education, Nigeria has really moved forward, because in the days of the colonial master up to 1960, from 1960 to now, you will see that the level of our involvement in educational issues has gone past the one of 1960. For example, before the 1960, before our independence, some of our schools were all dilapidated, nothing to write all about. But from that time to now, they have been renovated. More universities, they are now have been approved. More polytechnics, more college of education, and the awareness of education has improved greatly. So in the area of education, we have done so well.
Okay.
We have done so well. But there's another thing I want to say. Some of the way forward to our present challenges is that Nigerians must look into some critical areas. One, agriculture.
Okay.
2, our healthcare. 3, our source of power supply. Because if you have constant power supply, the economic of that area or that state or that country will
I'll take from you, Honorable Prince. Even before our Lord God, according to the Bible, made the world, he first said, let there be light. And then production started. So, our time is almost up. So let's get
in the area of education.
Yes.
The type of education the colonial masters bequeathed to Nigeria was the one that prepared both of secretary and interpreters. You get it, and not the one that we prepared for technology. You get it, and so that is what we've been maintaining. On 1 or 2 occasions, we made attempt to go towards the technological. That's when Babangida established a University of Science and Technology and a University of Agriculture and everything. But one of the problems we have in Nigeria today is policy somersault. Policy somersault. It's not helping us. You get it? This government will come, there's no continuity. Even when they are of the same political party.
Yeah.
The only states where you have that kind of continuity, only 2 states I've seen so far. Lagos State and Akwa Ibom. And that's why you see the rate of development. Lagos State had 50 years plan, and every governor that comes in has been building on that 50 years. Akwa Ibom had its own design by Obonfito Atta, and when Akpabio came in, he built on it. Imawudo came in, he built on Eno is building on it.
It's quite simple to do that.
You get it. But some other ones, they come with that. When I entered, I will decide what I will do. Now, we have so many universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, private, government, state and this thing. But the question is, what are they churning out? What are they churning out? You get it? Now, the beautiful structures and everything. Every day you have lecturers on strike. We are going on strike, we are not funded, we are not done this. If you get a degree today and you go outside the country, they will tell you go and see their exam. Yeah. Because of the quality of our education. Then the second one is that when you churn out these people, where will they work? Have we made provision for work, for them to have something to do? We have not done that. And so we now have a large army of youth who are coming out of university looking for employment. Now keke driver, people are now doing slave labor You have a degree, you are working in a restaurant, you are working at a filling station as a fuel dispenser with your BSc, some with master driving taxi and all. Was that why you went to school? So the government should sit down and think. Then our leaders, this idea of you have made a commissioner today, your family must be in UK, Canada, and all the rest. What's driving you away from Nigeria? You get it? Then every Nigerian should be patriotic, irrespective of what is going on. Let us not use our mouth to be insulting our country. This useless country called Nigeria, this stupid country, this useless thing. Remember, it is the passport of that useless country
that you are using.
You are carrying. So when you say your father is useless, it means you are useless.
I have something
so
to add.
Let us be patriotic.
We're not adding.
No,
we're
just
our goodbyes.
no. You said
Yes.
Akwa Ibom and Lagos.
Yeah.
I want to say something. Delta is included because from the time of Ibori, when Udwan came back, he equally followed suit.
Okay.
And when Okowa came, he equally followed suit.
All right. Thank you so
and
much.
Governor Borori has come as he's also following
suit. More.
And we will do more.
We're not celebrating Delta.
No, we are
Nigeria.
Delta. We will celebrate
Thank
Delta.
you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Prince, Honorable Faye. Good one to add here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good conversation. Lawrence Okpeho, my former boss.
I think can shake.
Across
the honorable.
We did that. I got to achieve something at the end of the show. But this has been Independence Day special, the journey so far of Nigeria. 64 years after, but still standing strong. The resilience of the Nigerian people cannot be matched. Nigerian rapper Vector the Viper said, even if you said Nigeria is not the giant of Africa, Nigerians are still the giant of Africa.
Yes.
And that's due to our heart and our courage. Stay with us on Delta Television, the People's Pride. We shall ensure that independence is celebrated on this station at the best way possible. My name is Francis Ofulue. Good afternoon, happy independence, and goodbye.